Yo guys, happy Tuesday. So a little bit of a more aggressive pullback, and I want to speak about this today as we got to start preparing for two major scenarios. We have just hit a bounce zone, right? Major support on Bitcoin in this area that we are seeing. However, we do have lower support as well, and what we are seeing is we're seeing a little bit of a dominance uprise, okay, which is meaning something, guys, because what we have seen over the last couple of days is we have seen when Bitcoin is getting bullish, dominance has been going up, right? Then what we had around 2-3 days ago, we actually had the shift of that. All of a sudden, dominance started to pull back. Altcoins started to catch up. But what you're getting now is you're getting a Bitcoin pullback, dominance going up. Therefore, Bitcoin bounce, dominance coming down, therefore strong electric bounce within altcoins. So I know altcoins, it's tough. They start making their progress and they come back down to the lower ranges. Okay, but what you got to understand, guys, is when we do get this bounce, we are going to have the major shift. And sometimes these dumps can actually trigger the altcoins and bring strength. We were not getting much strength in altcoins when Bitcoin was strong. Therefore, now we are seeing the shift. And now what we're going to do is survive the red. You survive the red, you know, or what do they say? If you survive the dip, you deserve the rip. And that's what we got to get through. So let's get through the red phase today. Let's look at what altcoins are going to be bouncing the hardest. I see we do have Janet Yellen, or whatever her name is. She's speaking in the next 2 hours, okay, with some emergency event. And what we're seeing is the stock market is actually coming down a little bit aggressive at the moment. So this might be a little bit of a play of why Bitcoin is possibly pulling back. But what I was looking at is there's a whole bunch of strong support on the stock market. So the stock market also has a decent amount of support in this area over here. And we need to track this nice little strong bounce that in this zone over here. And we've got to speak about both scenarios, guys. Let's speak about if we do lose the support, what does this mean? Again, bull run not over. You know, again, I showed you guys this chart here yesterday. And I want to show you guys again when it comes to the Bitcoin chart. This is the major flag that we are in. Okay, and as you can see right now, we've had this weekly close break, and there we go, the retest. Okay, so before people get a little bit worried and too stressed, you got to understand that this year, if we close above these zones over here, it is a successful retest, and we are still bullish. Now, remember the time we were, what is it, a couple of weeks back, where we broke out over here and we started pulling down aggressive, and we're like, hey guys, a higher high is a higher high. If we get a higher low, the next week is going to be great. So that's the same thing we are now. If you are here to make money and you celebrate the big wins, you have to also get through the red days. Very important. You get through the red days, you survive the red days, you stay motivated and you do something within the red days, then you are the one that prospers when it comes to the green days. You cannot allow it to flush you out. I'm here to be with you guys to look at the next major levels and look at where we're going to be bouncing next and what altcoins are going to be bouncing aggressive to. So no more wasting time. Happy Tuesday to you all. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like Sniper. Welcome to Sheldon the Sniper.
Banter family, brand new channel, hit the subscribe button and like the video up if you ain't gonna quit, right? You ain't gonna quit. You here, you survived the red. I know it gets a little bit choppy. It may seem a little bit scary, but again, you got to zoom out and look at what's happening. You know, look at the higher time frame, and I want to show you guys over here with total 3. Total 3 broke 200-day moving average, and now we have total 200-day moving average sitting right below. There is a lot of support in this area over here. Okay, now altcoins are slightly falling aggressively a little bit more. Why? Because they haven't got through this big resistance above it just yet. So the alts haven't even been fully released just yet as we speak. And you can see that this little double top over here, you know, is giving us a nice little rejection. Now what we're going to look for is obviously holding the big major trends. And I want to show you guys again these big trends over here. Okay, so what it's showing here is it's showing that we definitely still remain in the bullish category when it comes to altcoins. But it does show that the bounce must be coming pretty soon. Okay, and we need to keep alerts over here and be prepared for either scenario. But ultimately, it's saying that this pullback is not much bigger than what we are seeing right now. We are seeing a bunch of 200-day and a trend line. And I was having a look at a couple RSIs as well. The RSI 4-hour is now heading to the bottom. I was looking at the 8-hour heading to the bottom. And let's have look at the 12-hour. 12-hour is still on its way down. So I want to speak to you guys what this means. And I want to show you Bitcoin as well. You can see that Bitcoin's 12 hours nearly at the bottom. And we have the 8-hour at the bottom and the 4 hours. So what that means is a temporary bounce is incoming pretty soon. Okay. And then we have ground to make to the upside in order to keep those higher time frame RSIs to the upside. Okay. And if we break certain trends, then we know, okay, the daily RSI wants to be coming down. And that can end up taking at least 3 to 4 days. So the big question we're asking at today is this a dip for the day or is this a dip for the week? And that's what we got to separate and make sure that we are prepared for. Nonetheless, guys, the big barriers that we have broken on the weekly, it does show you that this is a weekly time frame that you're breaking out, right? It's not a 1 hour breakout, which means the patience does have to rise slightly. And it does mean it takes a couple of days to a week or two to actually start playing out. But we still got to understand that the progress that we have made has been a big one. Okay, we are still at the major levels, and I will show you guys again over here. And when it comes to this chart over here, we are still at very big supports, okay, and we are also outside of the trend. So it's basically indicating the same thing. Okay, market is getting temporary bearish at the moment, short-term bearish. And I want to show you guys over here what this obviously means for altcoins. So we can see a couple of altcoins, and you got a choice today. You're either going to look at these altcoins and be like, okay, there's a little bit of red here, or you're going to be spotting out the quality that is cheaper than what it was yesterday. Okay, 2 days ago, it's very easy to buy in the markets. You cannot be stuck in the mentality of not buying when it's red, guys. You need to change that very quickly. Red and the fear and the depression, this is when you buy your bags, right? When it's the other way, you are just chasing pumps. And therefore, anyone that was buying a little bit later, okay, will go into a bit of downfall. Now, guys, every trade that I've been entering, I am still in all of the high time frame trends. I'm actually looking at today, okay, what can I shuffle around and how can I make these entries a little bit better? And what more can I buy off, right? Because what it does red days, and I want you guys to remember this because it's very important to take these days. We don't have losses in this game. We have lessons, right? What did I buy terribly? Today is the reveal, right? Today's the honesty. Why is my one coin a lot less? Well, why am I losing more money on this coin than the other coin? Because technically I maybe got a worse buy. Okay, so you got to look at it today, and the truth is revealing yourself that, hey, when these pullbacks happen, you got to then really test and see how good are your entries, how good are your buys. You know, how good, if you are going into a massive loss already now, you got to understand that there could be an even more aggressive pump. And now it's a little bit of understanding to know that what are good entries in your portfolio and what are terrible entries in your portfolio right now. These are good things because the fact that you know that now, you can actually start acting on it and start fixing your entries rather than having 50 tokens in your portfolio with terrible entries. You can rather have 20 with good entries. Therefore, the ones that are really bad right now, terrible entries, but you got ones that are really good, you can ultimately start selling some of the bad and start buying some of the good. And you can start fixing something because now you understand that the red days will always come. You will have the green days, you will have the red days. And all that we are looking for here, again, that the green days or the green weeks are bigger than the red ones. And right now, as it stands, the only way that this turns very bearish, okay, is if Bitcoin goes below $62,000. Then we have a weekly engulfing candle. Until then, markets are very bullish, and this is only but another add-on. Then what you also got to understand is this, again, is another weekly higher high, okay? And if you are a believer, the way that I am a believer, right, that in the next couple of weeks, we are breaking all-time highs. This is kind of giving you a little bit of urgency that your investment entries are now, your gate of investing in tokens are coming to a close. And if you were ever going to invest in tokens for the bull market, this is where you got to do it. You cannot be excited on the big green weeks over here and think I'm going to invest and get into these tokens. And then when the red comes into the perfect zone, be scared. You can't do that, right? So for me personally today, I am loading up on more Solana. That break of $160 of resistance was not a small break. Higher time frame break, it was massive. It was us finally getting our first major weekly high that we have not seen on Solana all the way since July. So therefore today on this retest, and you can see this nice little flag that we formed when we broke out of it, all of the indications that I'm seeing, which the first one was breaking the 200-day, the second one was breaking the trend, the third one was breaking the high. It's a no-brainer that on this pullback over here, this is the zone of where if you wanted more Solana, the same Solana that was $170 yesterday that you liked is now in that zone for a retest, and that's your investment within the token. Then I also got to think to myself, okay, if Solana is now retesting into the major zone, okay, is there any Solana-based tokens that I want to be paying attention to? Your GTOs, your Jupiter, all of these tokens are probably also pulling back into really important zones. And let's go look at a couple of them. Ooh, is this Ray? Look at Radium. Not caring nothing. Look at this. Breaking of the massive trend over here. Look at Sol, guys. Solana's getting a lot stronger than what we think. There we go. There is a Radium token breaking the major weekly trends probably last entry when it comes to investment. This is your investment zones over here that you're looking for before it breaks these highs and starts really shooting to the upside. But you could see here that now all of these tokens that did do great last week are coming in for retests. And you got to look at this as this is the time that if you wanted to buy 2 days ago, you've got to be focused on the buys today and slow the dollar costing average. Okay, so the way it basically works is when they come into these retest zones, it's time to be buying, right? Or to be swapping. Some people don't have any more money, but you've got to understand that maybe you got some tokens that you bought too high, okay, and they're terrible entries. And it's okay to go offload some of your bad bags into your good ones, okay? But then there's also another thing that every time we do come down, and I want to show you guys this over here. Jump to Sol. You know that this is a big level on Solana over here. You jump here to the 4-hour chart, okay, and you zoom in, and what you'll see is a beautiful trend as well. There is the trend. So that is the time that you got to accumulate in the zone. And by the time we break the trend is when you want to be in. Okay, so you could see here that this is indicating, hey, you got around 12 to 16 to 20 hours before we can possibly break in trend, which means I buy 10% of what I wanted to buy now. I buy 20%, 30%, and I wait. Because if it gets cheaper, I want to be able to buy more. Okay, but when it breaks the trend is kind of when I have to have my mind up and when I'm in. So it gives us, that shows us, okay, there's a bit of a dip. I see Solana's actually bouncing really nicely right now. Okay, and we're going to speak about the strength of the tokens, but you've got to understand that again, you can't be upset. And I want to show you as well with ETH as well. ETH breaking out and back on this retest highs over here. I think that this little drop here is a fake out, to be honest. I think this is for any latecomers that got into ETH. This is going to kind of scare people out. And I'm actually seeing a pin bar candle. What I'm seeing from this week, and I want to give you guys my views this week and what I think is going to happen on the short time frame and what I think is going to happen this week. I think this candle is going to turn green. Okay, I literally think that from here there is support at 65,600. Okay, so it gives you a bit of an idea. There's still another 3% drop within Bitcoin. Okay, but there's also a dominance that's going up. So you got to understand that's a little bit bigger on a couple of altcoins. Okay, but that is for me, that's the major support. But after that, guys, I am seeing a strong buy. And I'm actually seeing that this candle over here is going to form a pin bar. And we're going to see a bar like this with a nice little green head at the tip of it over there. That for me will set us up perfectly for the next 2 weeks to actually push into the $70,000 zone. Another thing that's also very interesting, guys, is when it comes to the stochastic RSIs, okay, the stochastic RSI, the token actually only pumps when we get to the high points over here. Okay, so when you are buying or when you want to invest in crypto, all these sort of things, when Bitcoin's at the lows over here, that's the time you're investing, right? You're putting in. But then you've got to understand when this token moves. When does it really get going? Guys, like the video up. Get the likes up. Why? Because I'm here on the red days. Okay, not just on the green. I'm here on the red days. I promise you, I'll be here. You'll be here. Smash a like. We're here on the red days. We fight through the red. If you love it and you celebrate when we're making money, you love it when we are here losing money together, but getting through it and making it. Same thing. We don't change. You don't love me when it's great and across. No, we like it up and we get going. Okay. The next thing, guys, that I want to show you here as well is when the RSI gets to the top is when we really get moving. Okay, so I want to show you over here with Bitcoin. Here's an example just to show you that what this does, guys, is it teaches you the basic understanding of the way charts and price works. It starts off slowly and it speeds up at the end. Okay, and that's usually when we get near the end. So for example, we start off slowly and then we really speed up and that usually gets to the end, right? But what that basically looks in RSI levels, it basically shows you that, okay, when RSI was at the bottom, very similar to where we were around 2-3 weeks ago, what you then start seeing is a little bit of a grind up. Okay, and then when your RSI gets above 80%, you see this 80% block over here, is when we start to speed up. Now, why does this happen, guys? Because when we start off the little rally to the upside, we are actually going into big resistance. Okay, and it always takes time to slowly grind into resistance. Why? Because there is selling pressure. You got to understand that there is 2 teams in crypto. Okay, and the red team is going to try protect its territory, right? Very similar to how Bitcoin has tried to protect $50,000 this entire year. So yes, we've gone to 70 to the upside, but there's multiple times we've come down, and Bitcoin is protected 55, 54, slight dip to 50K. Then we went 53, but that was a protective level for bulls to hold that level. Then you look at the bears. Where were the bears protecting their level? Over here, the $70,000 zone. Every time we got there, and what you've had this entire year is a fight between the 2 teams. So when you are at support and you start to rise up again to resistance, what you are seeing is you are seeing a fight up to get through selling pressure. And the moment you get through selling pressure is when the market starts to accelerate very quickly. And that's why we always say it starts off slow and then accelerates very fast at the end. Okay, but the RSI indicates the same thing, that the first start of the push up in the RSI is to fight through all the dam of the resistance. The moment you get through the resistance, okay, then we go into free flow territory and the market starts moving fast and naturally because there's not much selling pressure anymore. You just wreck the other team. Okay, you just wreck the red team, which means they tighten their wounds. They scared as well. They don't want to short the market anymore. They don't want to sell anymore. Okay, therefore the bulls, and you end up having a lot more buyers than the sellers. But this always comes when you have RSIs at the top. And I want to show you another example just before that over there. Before I show you where we're at now, look at this over here, guys. So here, Bitcoin, big resistance was this zone over here at $30,000. Okay, then look how the RSI was at the bottom when we were sitting at around $24,000. Then look how we took at least 3 to 4 weeks to get up. Look where the RSI push up, push up, push up. Now in this time over here, resistance, 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 200-day moving average, everything fighting in these zones over here. Price goes slow. Okay, the moment we get to the overbought territory where we have got through the resistance, then all of a sudden you saw a price projection or a price movement of from $33,000 all the way to $49,000. Okay, so always understand that right now is the hardest time because you have Bitcoin at the biggest resistance of the damn year. But you still got to understand that the party has just begun, right? Your DJ only comes on, the main DJ only comes on, after we get to this major stage over here. So when you want to go to a music event, guys, they always say you go a little bit earlier so you can get a nice seat in the front. I want to ask you now, do you want to sit at the back of the bull market or do you want to sit in the front of the bull market? Do you want to be in front where all the sweat and the party and be right there in front of the vibe? Okay, or do you want to be sit at the back on someone's toes trying to see the DJ, trying to hear the music, trying to get past the thousands of people in front of you? Okay, that's what you got to understand. So right now, what it basically means for the last 3 times that Bitcoin has had this RSI push to the upside, okay, anywhere until over here, you have been in front of the party. Okay, the moment that we go into that big phase over there is when you are at the back of the party. So now you see that, look at where we are today. Okay, firstly, where we are today right now, we are actually progressing pretty good and a little bit more aggressively than what we have before going into major resistance. You got big resistance at $70,000. Okay, but what you got to understand is this is resistance. This is where the one team is fighting its ass off to be holding. But the moment you get through this team, all of a sudden, they will be hurt and injured, and there won't be much selling pressure, and you're only going to have way more buys than those sort of areas. But the party only starts when we are over here, and that's indicating in the next 2 to 3 weeks, okay, which means you have to be making your way to the front of the damn line, into the stage, getting your drinks ready, go to the bathroom, have your bathroom break, get everything ready, pack your damn bags, okay, and your goodies inside, whatever those goodies may be, okay, and you get yourself to the front of the party, because from here, anyone that comes over here is late and is going to be sitting at the back. So what this is indicating over here is, yes, there is resistance, as there was resistance every time before in the zone over here, okay, but where the things really start getting fun is when this RSI starts to make its way to the upside over here. Now, on the other side, where it comes to the bears now and being bearish, okay, that is where we got to pay attention to our big levels now. Our big levels are, and I want to show you guys in the high time frame, is $63,000 to $65,000. If we are holding those levels, you make your way to the damn front of the stage. You get ready for the DJ to come on. You don't sit there and say, is the DJ coming? Is it not coming? Should I get drinks? Should I not get drinks? I understand that there is a lot of fight and resistance here, but we are bullish in these levels over here, and understand that the real move starts over here. What does that look like? That looks like something like this. And I want to paint you guys a few scenarios. Let's get a little bit more bearish, okay? And let's get bullish, and let's get in between, right? Let's get a little bit of a plan of what this basically looks like on the Bitcoin chart. So the first scenario, and the one that I think we are going to be playing out first, okay, is here at any moment between the $65,000, we have a push up in Bitcoin, okay? What I see again is I see that us having a pin bar this week. I see another slow grind candle over here. And then what I see in the next 2 to 3 weeks is we start free flowing. Okay. I then think we start free flowing to around 80K. I think they shake us out. And then I think we get going. that is my first major scenario that we're looking at over there. Let's get bearish now. Let's speak about bearish. Now, I can't be too bearish here because it goes against every single rule that I've ever taught or ever been in TA. But let's get more bearish. More bearish is they send us down to $63,000. Then what happens is you will find a fat red candle this week. You'll have a recovery small candle next week, then another one. And in about 3 to 4 weeks from now, then we only get going. So this, if we go to $63,000 this week, it does delay us around 2 to 3 weeks. That's what it does. Okay. I saw I coined it. Nice, Glenn. What's up? So that's the only difference is the time capitulation. Now, time capitulation is important to understand. Okay. The best way to get rid of an audience is to wait too long. Right. And I saw it. I saw it today. Everyone's like, Sheldon, where you at? Please respect that time. I get it, guys. And I'll make sure that I push the time earlier. But when the DJ is an hour late, it's the best time to remove the audience, right? I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm going to another place. I'm going to all these sort of things. It's called time capitulation. Okay, so if Bitcoin sits here, doesn't get through 70K again, and it does decide to go in another 2-3 weeks, you're going to have many people time capitulating, get out of crypto because they just can't do time, right? When time takes too long, all these things happen. I'm gone. I'm out of here. I'm finished. All these sort of things. Okay, and that's what you got to understand. So if the scenario B comes out, the only explanation that I would see that happening is I still see an all-time high this year. I just see a bit of time capitulation. I see basically, hey, bore your audience, get them to bore off, get them to snooze off, and then continue. Okay, that's the next play. Bullish play, guys. Very bullish play. Is we catch support over here. Maybe there's some news in the next 2 hours. I don't know. We'll see. The stock markets are pulling down a little bit aggressively at the moment. Okay. And we actually go to $73,000 this week. We have a massive buy up. Now, this will probably come with a bit of news. Maybe there's some news this week. Maybe some in this thing. But there is a version that the market is ready right now, especially on the shorter time frame. Okay. For us to actually from here, I don't know if you've noticed, guys, but if you look at all of this over here, let's quickly get rid of my drawing so I can show you guys over here. Bitcoin's current rally is very strong. Okay, it's looking very aggressive. And the reason why I'm saying that is look at this. If you had to draw this into a normal leg, it looks like this, right? That's it. That's very strong. If we decide to bounce here, there's nothing stopping another leg like that happen this week. Okay, that shows you again that if we hold these, and why you still got to sit and think on that bullish level, that if we hold the zone over here, we could still really move very quickly. Okay, and the big resistances, and I want to show you guys where the resistances are, is $70,000. Okay, look how all of a sudden we get a little bit of red on the short time frame. Look at all the yellow at the top. So now what you can see very clearly, there are two big short squeeze levels on Bitcoin at the moment. The first one is here at 68,200. The next one is $70,000. And look how there's no yellow above that. Okay, so those are your two levels where we can really excel. If we break through $70,000 this week, it's very likely we are at $74,000 or $73,000 by the end of this week. Okay, and that means we must hold $66,000 today, and that one is still in play. If we start losing $66,000 today, start preparing for the drop off to the 65, 64, and then the buy up, right? And if we start losing that level, then prepare for another 2-3 weeks of a little bit of slow grind. Maybe that can be a blessing for us because maybe that will send the dominance down, okay? Because the dominance is looking on a little bit of a bounce zone at the moment, okay? Over here, we shall see. Right now, dominance is coiling up. Okay, now let's speak about this for a second. What has basically happened over the last 2 days is something, you know what separates someone that has experience in the market versus someone that doesn't? They start to pick up the things when the market starts to show a little bit of weakness. You never judge the market when it's in a good streak. You judge it when it's in a bad streak, right? But what you also got to look for is you got to start looking for the change. You got to look at what's been happening. So if you look at last week, what was happening, okay? Bitcoin was bullish. Bitcoin went from $64,000 close to 70K. What happened to dominance? Spiked up. Then what happened? Bitcoin started pulling back, right? Started pulling back. And what happened was dominance started pulling down and Bitcoin started to get choppy and altcoins started to catch up. Now look at the difference. Now Bitcoin is pulling back and dominance is going up. So what happened here, it's reversed. I don't know if you've noticed that. Okay, it's basically reversed now that dominance is now going up when Bitcoin is crashing. Therefore, when Bitcoin is at that point, and I want to show you guys something interesting here as well, is Bitcoin actually lost a short-term trend last week, Bitcoin dominance, Look at this. There's the trend. Okay, there's the trend that we lost last week. So for me, whenever we lose these trends, and that's a 3-touch trend, which is a valid good trend, 60% chance that it is accurate. Okay, what it's saying over here is saying, okay, here is a Bitcoin pullback, therefore take some love from the altcoins. But when Bitcoin bounces, here we go, altcoins, the money comes to you. So this dump over here, which may scare a little bit, and trust me, guys, those who are busy with short-term trading, I know it's demotivating. I know we get stopped out. I know you make money and it's coming back. And so trust me, it's annoying. I just had it with the competition now as well. I had a stupid wick on Rune. And it also just came down and just took a lot of gains. And I was like, whatever. You got to keep going through this phase now, because what we are seeing here is the altcoins are actually getting a little bit more strength behind the doors. And at any moment now on this, I'm seeing a strong bounce from the altcoins. Okay, which now takes me to this selection over here. And let's jump in. Just before I do that, let's go through a couple of tweets over here. Yellen to hold a press conference at the Treasury Department. Okay, this is happening in the next couple hours. Let's see what happens, because right now I was looking at the stock markets, and the stock market started pulling back aggressively. So let's quickly speak about this, because the stock markets, this may be a, it's like the cops arriving at the party, right? Is the cops going to arrive or not? So they're going to ruin the party right now and delay us a little bit. Again, not delaying an all-time high break this year. That for me, I think I'm 90% sure we break all-time highs this year, right? It's just about, does it take another 2 weeks, to really get going? That's the question. So what you got to keep eyes today is the stock markets. We've got a nice little emergency event incoming, but what we also have is a lot of support here. You also have the stock markets right now still making higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so at any point here, it does show that news today could actually be possibly good, right? Or good reaction from the market. So this is the only thing that we must hold this line over here this week, just to not delay us from the party a little bit more. So keep an eye on this over here. But there is a sign that there should be some buying power and upside pretty soon when it comes to the stock market. So that's decent news as well for now. And again, I'll update on that tomorrow. But let's get jumping into today's plan. Here are the two big short-term zones, and there is a trend line. So while you are seeing, again, you are seeing dominance go up. And I want to show you guys how you can see dominance going up. Therefore, your alts are exaggerating a little bit, okay? So they're going a little bit more aggressively down to the bottom than Bitcoin at the moment, okay? But look at this. If I show you on Bitcoin over here, here are the big support zones on Bitcoin. You got your first major support zone over here, which we have hit. We've officially hit it. Now, which support are you talking about, Sheldon? Was that high that we broke through last week? You know that 65,000 we couldn't get through for a while? That is now support. And what it's basically showing you is something that was basically a previous hard level that we finally broke through it is now support, right? And again, there's two scenarios that happens when this happens. It's all about if the trap is going to happen or not. Technically, we should hold this level. We should hold where we are now. But if you really want to screw with people, you send this a little bit lower. By doing that, people are going to start second doubting. Oh, we're not holding 66. Oh, that's why I have another scenario at 65,200. I am seeing a temporary bounce in these areas. Nonetheless, if we're going down or not, I'm seeing a bounce first. Then it matters on where does that bounce get to. Okay, because right now, as it stands, we do have the higher highs and higher lows. So it basically means here that if you zoom in here and you see it on Bitcoin right now, you will see that I'm tracking it down with a trend line. That'll give me an idea of when the market's going to start to bounce. Then it is vital that we do make a higher high, because from here, when we pop our head through to the top over here, we must make a higher high, okay, for our main bullish scenario this week. If we decide to go up over here, then we are still in danger for that to happen over there. Okay, so it's giving us some urgency that the bulls must continue the momentum that they started last week. They mustn't sit around, mustn't slow down, mustn't do all these sort of things. Here are my two big bounce zones. This trend line will be the one that detects which one. Right now, I'm 60% sure we're going to bounce from here, and I'm 40% that we will go to this one over here. This trend line will be the one that will basically break, and it's telling me in the next, as it stands right now, in the next 3 to 4 hours, we should have a Bitcoin breakout. In that time, I do expect dominance to continue a little bit up, and let's go speak about the total 3, the altcoins as a whole. Here is my altcoins at the moment. Okay, there is a momentum trend line. I found a nice strong momentum trend line that we are at. And what we're also seeing at the moment is that the total 3 is coming down to this level called the 618, right? So if you look at the total 3 right now, we've had these 2 legs, and it basically looks something like this. What we want to see now is a 618 bounce. So here, we go over here, and we put in the 618. Secondly, I want to find something else that can back this area. What is that? I want to see RSI at the bottom, which it is at the bottom right now on the 4-hour, and the 8-hour is approaching. Okay, which does mean, again, a couple of hours. As you said, till the 8 hours at the bottom. Okay, but where we're at right now, 4 hours at the bottom. The next thing that I'm looking for, is there more support? Is there a horizontal? Okay, and what does that mean? Is there a previous level that is now helping us create support over here? You could see it on the left over here. You see these levels. That is creating support in that zone too. The next thing that I want to see as well is this area over here of a trend line. Okay, and what this does is it gives me multiple reasons or multiple indications of an area where we should bounce and a strong support zone. And that is all indicating this zone over here. Now we take it to the chart, and let me show you what that means on the basic chart. Let's just clear this up over here. Okay, so this is my plan B. You know, the one where I say a little bit more of a pool? That means another 7% drop within the altcoins. Okay, but right now I'm on plan A. Plan A is there is 618, so we've hit the top of the box now. Okay, there is horizontal support, there is RSI at the bottom, and there is the trend line. Basically indicating that alt shouldn't go much lower. This trend line will be the one that helps us determine the breakout, but this is definitely an area to buy something. Okay, save some cash if the cheaper deal happens. You are not promised this deal. Okay, you're not promised this deal over here, so you get something at these levels, and the trend line is where you want to inject more and make sure you're in on the major positions. Altcoins are still bullish. Okay, we see that? Fantastic. Next thing over here, let's go look at the USDT dominance. Now, I had this trend yesterday, and I said, guys, if we hold this trend up, we should pump quickly. We ended up breaking the trend, which basically ended up giving us another 2-3 days of a little bit more redness. But again, what you want to do here is you want to zoom out and understand where we are approaching. We are approaching that very, very, very big trend line. There is the very big trend line. Okay, and that for me indicates that this dump is nearly done. Not only is it nearly done, we are going to see a mega pump come after that. Okay, now it does show that there can be a little bit more. Okay, what does that mean? It's 65K Bitcoin, and it means another 6-7% drop within alts, right? And then from here, it is showing a mega pump. This creates urgency and says, hey, if you wanted to buy yesterday, you sure as hell should not be scared to buy today. Why the hell are you being scared? Don't get your priorities mixed up. Don't get confused and don't get trapped. If you love green days, you should love red days 10 times more. And keep this in mind and understand the bigger picture that these are high time frame breaks. Therefore, in the short time, you'll get this volatility. But on the high time frame, understand that things are turning very bullish. Okay, next thing over here is the total market cap. This is again showing you that if you like it or not, altcoins did break trends last week. Altcoins did make progress. Okay, and we have broken out. And what we're looking for now is some support, and altcoins will pump with Bitcoin on the next pump. It won't just be a Bitcoin pump. That's a really good sign. Let's go through a couple of things. Here is ETH on the top of the trends. You like ETH? There are your zones, your Solanas. There is Sol. That is still my prediction on Sol. Sol is very much strong right now, very much in trend. That's what I'm looking at. Another token to pay attention to that is coming down to support, which for me means that you're not short-term trading this token. You are buying this for the long term at a good level. You want to buy the pullbacks. That's why I've been buying Casper. Casper hasn't been pumping yet, but it's cheap as hell, right? It's on support. That's where I'm buying it. NIA is now at these major zones. Token that I've been busy loading up on quite a bit is Rune. I'm very bullish on this token, and I see this thing rocketing very strong at any moment. So Thorchain is one of the strong ones. I'm actually going to add more to position. Give me a sec. Just give me a sec. Let's just get this going here. Because I got a stupid stop loss before this happened. Okay, there we go. I am now in my position. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm in my Thorchain. Thorchain, I'm very bullish on. Guys, look at this token. Everything's been pulling back. Look at this token. And it's in a very strong bull flag. So for me, this is one of my favorite tokens right now. I'm seeing a push again up to the $6 very quickly at any stage. Another one that's approaching is AVAX. Good zones. I've spoken about this. Your injectives. There's your injective on the 618. There is your Chainlink. So do you see how a dump triggers new coins? There's Chainlink. Boom. Chainlink has just accelerated and just popped. Okay, so again, you can look at red days as a bad fearful time, where you can go look at what's going to pump next, what can I load up next, because those who bought Chainlink earlier are now smiling. They got one of the bigger rockets for the major day over here. Casper, keep an eye on Casper, guys. Casper's about to break its first high. Casper is gaining strength. It is gaining strength. Casper is another token for spot that I'm looking at. Amazing gains incoming at any single moment over here. Okay, guys, let's give it a day. I'll see you all tomorrow. I know I got a couple of guys. Just remember, Banter Bubbles. We are bringing back Predict the Bitcoin. You see here? Go predict where Bitcoin is going to be by the 1st of next year. Okay? What you got to do is go to be using one of my exchange links below in the description. Okay? And you get up to 1 vote a week. Go put in your prediction. Here's the prediction. Someone says $95,000, $109,000. Okay, you get 5 a week, and we are giving away a Bitcoin on the 1st of the next month. Have a fantastic day. Love you lots, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Much love.